Welcome back to episode 155 of Tall Boy Radio. It's the first one that we're recording in 2023, and I can't tell you how glad we are to be back. I'm glad that you guys have chosen to join us as well, especially if you're joining from Taiwan, country number 53, Tall Boy Radio in 53 countries. And we got it just before Christmas, but we thought we'd share it with you tonight. Slightly different format, as we announced on our website earlier this week. So let's introduce the guests and the hosts. Dave, do you want to say hello first?
Evening, listeners. Looking forward to this one. It's always great to have a guest on. So interesting to hear what he's got to say.
Gaz?
Yeah, evening, guys. Evening, the world. Evening, Taiwan, or morning, or whatever time it is that you're listening to us. We're really not that fussy. As long as you're listening to us, we're really not bothered. Yeah, looking forward to this. It feels like it's been a while since we've had guests on, really. So, yeah, I'm not really too sure where we're going to go with it. Not sure what left turns we're going to find, but no doubt we'll have fun along the way.
Absolutely. And as I said at the start there, we have a guest. And like Gaz says, it's been a while. Well, I think we recorded most of December without a guest, but today we're joined by Dave. Do you want to say hello, dude?
Hi, everyone. I'm Dave as well. You okay? Yeah, honoured to be on the show. Yeah, absolute pleasure. Can't wait to have some good conversation with us.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, Dave and I have known each other for a while. We used to work together in a different life, back in the joys of retail.
Yeah.
So, but you've recently set up a Facebook page, haven't you, dude? And it's actually really beneficial to the likes of the three of us and to a lot of our listeners. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so it's called the Busy Dad UK because obviously at the minute everyone's struggling financially. When they said the cost of living crisis, the energy crisis, there's just a big, massive crisis, isn't there? I don't know about you, as a busy dad, sometimes it's not all sunshine and rainbows. It can be quite difficult, and I just wanted to build like a community or something where we can just blow off a bit of steam, or we just help each other out, because there's that much. Sometimes, again, as a male, sometimes it's a bit of a stereotype being the bread earner, and with everything going on. It's just giving people options, whether it's to have a bit of a chat, whether a bit of support, could be anything, and then. And there's other bits as well what I'm thinking about, which is like lifestyle choices, maybe stress and anxiety management, stuff like that. But yes, it's just second off. It's early days yet, but it's doing really well. And hopefully it can, even if it just helps one dad, it's worth doing. I think that's the key. So yeah, no, thank you. It's a pleasure to be on, and yeah, that's it.
Yes, I mean, obviously I'd seen you set it up. And I think it's a fantastic idea because there is an awful, like you say, there's a lot of stigma that guys, you call it masculinity, toxic masculinity, whatever you will, but there is an expectation that we're expected to deal with anything that life throws at us. And simply, it isn't like that. Like you say, the cost of living crisis, the pandemic that we've just been through, Brexit and the damage that's done to our economy, and everybody's feeling the effect from that. It's modern life, I know the risk of sounding one of these woke generation millennials. It can be difficult at times, and you can't, you can grin and bear it all you like, but it can take a toll on you. What about you guys? If you guys, do you guys feel, we're all dads here at different ages of our children, Gaz and Dave, I think yours are hopefully fleeing the nest soon, I think Gaz was saying earlier.
Well, yes. Don't say that. You get me in trouble there, dude. Bloody hell, fella. Crying out loud. Yeah, so 17 and 15. So I've got two daughters, 17 and 15. Obviously going through sort of A-levels, GCSEs and stuff. So, they almost, I suppose I've gone through this is going to sound horrible, like the having to look after them phase, in terms of, they're quite self-sufficient and stuff. And yes, when they're off to university, you're going to worry about them, as you always will until they're whatever age. You'll never stop worrying about them. But in terms of sort of having to be there sort of 24/7, I've sort of gone through that a little bit, and I think Dave's sort of the same. But I mean, obviously Adam's kids are sort of a bit younger than mine, so I think he's still going through that. Yeah, a lot. Yeah, it's. I think he's still going through that sort of almost like you have to be there all the time for them. Whereas I've gone through that and I'm sort of almost getting out sort of the other side really at the moment. But yeah, I mean, I remember back in the day, I mean, you know, growing up, we didn't have the cost of living crisis when my kids were growing up, but it was sort of tough then. But it must be, you know, it's hard now. You know, just how do you allocate your time? Well, what do you do? What do you know? Do you go and work a second job? You know, there'll be guys that be listening to this, you know, having to go and work second jobs just because I suppose there is that expectation that it's you that's providing as such. You know, so yeah, I do feel for some families and stuff, and particularly to the busy dads where it feels as though there is a bit of a, as I'd said, like almost an expectation that, you know, that stiff upper lip and we're all going to deal with it and all that sort of thing. And it'd be great that you're providing an opportunity for people to sort of offload and have a bit of a respite from it. So yeah, fair play to you.
Oh, thank you. And you, Dave?
Yeah, me and Gaz go back when we knew each other when we were 2, went to the same nursery. So our kids, unlike Adam, we had our kids about the same time, so about 15 and 14, only a year or two behind. I'm just not quite where Gaz is with it. Mine are just going through their GCSEs in year 3, so they're a little bit behind, so they do need a bit more attention. But yeah, I think I'd echo what Gaz says. It's not always easy, and that's, you know, just life, jobs, family. It's not easy.
No, it isn't. How old are your kids, Dave?
Mate, mine. I have one. I've got one that's 3, Ellis, and I've got one that's Oliver's 3, and Ellis is 1. Yeah, trick question. I want it. Could get kids' names right. I mean,
yeah, I thought that. Yeah.
I'll miss him there. Give me a dirty look.
Yeah, that's the test.
Yeah, we do ask some tough questions.
Oh, yeah. So any other tough ones there? But no, we're on the opposite spectrum. So like mine are self-sufficient and like literally they're fully dependable. They can't survive without us, and it's full on. And they're lovely and they're brilliant. But it's hard, isn't it? It was, and I don't know. It's like dad guilt. How many of us suffer from dad guilt? I mean, it's a killer, isn't it? It's horrible. I was having to touch on what you said before. I was working away a lot. My missus had gone to part-time with the first one to spend more time, and then obviously our second one, it was on maternity, so it was like maternity of a part-time wage. So as a dad, I was like, God, I'm gonna have to like sort of step up here, and I'm gonna have to earn some extra money. So I ended up working away, sort of sacrifice just to obviously, so we had the lifestyle still because we didn't want to do that. So massive dad guilt, and then it's only because I've got another business now that utilities wise, which is like gives a second income, which you touched on, which is been able to generate an extra income. So then I'm not having to work away, and I don't have to work weekends doing overtime. And then I bought back my time with my kids, so it's been beneficial in that sense, type of thing.
I mean, I've been sort of, you know, fortunate in terms of, you know, never had to do second jobs, and we've all done crappy jobs as such. But there must be that horrible sense of that catch-22. I need to be away to earn to provide, but then I don't want to be away because I want to be at home. And every time you're away, there's the pressure on your missus to, I say, look after kids. You know, particularly if you're working away and you're staying away overnight and you're away for long periods of time. It's like I have to do it, but I really don't want to because of the pressure then on your missus, and that, you know, that must be in a way an awful feeling. And I'm thankful that, you know, I've never had to sort of live away to earn and stuff. But you know, that must be a horrible sort of position to be in it. And as you say, I have that dad guilt of I have to step up and I have to earn, but in order to do that, I have to be away from my family, which puts pressures on, you know, probably your relationship and then your dad relationship. You know, that must be tough, man.
Yeah, no, seeing your kids through FaceTime, it's not ideal, like. But and then when you have been working away all week, the weekends are precious, but you're knackered, aren't you? Because you've been travelling or you've what's name, so they're not getting the best of you. They're not getting 100%. So I'm not. If it's happening to me, or it did happen to me, there's a lot of men out there that's in the same position, a lot of dads. So that's one of the big reasons why, obviously, I wanted to create the group, just even if they can just offload it and say, oh, I'm feeling bit crap because of this. Say, actually, you know what, we all feel crap. No one's perfect, and it's okay. And it's sort of like a safe haven then for us as a community. And then just also have a bit of banter as well. It's not about being dead serious, just something a bit light-hearted as well. A couple of dad jokes or something, whatever. Just if you miss it, do you? Am I allowed to say this on the? If you miss it, do you then just have a bit of a rant? Don't have to name names. Just say, oh, does your miss it to this? Like, whatever. Hey.
Mate, you say that all the time. You don't have to worry about that. I say that all the time. Do you know what I mean? It's fine.
You do feel better though, don't you? When it's problem hard, the problem shared, or whatever the saying is. But it's just get off your chest. You feel a million times better. So that's it. That's the general thing. What I want to do now is sort of build the engagement. So I want more people to not only join and build it, but then to obviously start engaging. Instead of me being posting stuff all the time, it's me. More people interacting with it basically, and let it do it itself. Me take a step back, and it just sort of does it itself.
Fair play to you.
Yeah, well, we'll share this podcast out on that channel as well. So we'll stick links out we'll drop on YouTube on Wednesday, and then we'll stick it out on next Monday for the audio links, and that'll be on literally every audio platform that you can listen to us on. Which was just for the record, 5-star wherever anybody listens to us. For the 3 people that bother to rate us. No,
is that me, you, and Gaz?
No, I don't think Gaz has bothered yet.
I haven't bothered yet, no. Oh, shit, did I give that away? Oh, sorry about that. Yeah. Okay, for the 4 people then, sure, after this.
But no, in all fairness, I totally get it. And it's when you say like a problem shared is a problem halved. And just knowing that other people in the same boat as you can definitely help, can't it?
Yeah, 100%. And that's the key. I've been there in the same boat. How many times you've been struggling and you're like, you've got mates and they probably would listen to you, but it's pride, stigma, and you go, I can't buy everything because I feel stupid, or I feel a burden, or I'll do it. And then you bottle it up, and you don't end up reaching out, and then you just end up doing your own heading. So and then suffering in silence, and it's a shame because you've probably got loads of mates there that would listen to you, but for some reason there's just something. Again, just been drilled. Oh no, you can't think it, and that's what I want to get rid of, and get rid of that. So you can just. It's okay to ring a mate up. Ring a mate if you're listening and you're not in a good place or for whatever reason. Pick up the phone and ring a mate or ring anyone and just let them know. It's important in a minute.
You're not wrong there. You're not wrong. But just as a question to everyone, then, what is it? What is it about blokes that pride, that hubris gets in the way that we just can't reach out and say, Gaz, I'm having a tough time of it, dude. You know what I mean? Or Dave, I'm struggling at the minute. Any chance you can pay for me hot tub this week? So
ladies and gents.
In all seriousness, though, what is it about men that pride, that what gets in the way and why?
I think it's almost an age-old generational thing in terms of and it dates back through grandfathers, great-grandfathers. They were always seen to be the breadwinner. They were always seen to be the person that has to hold the family together, and they have to provide. And I know we're moving, through the sort of 21st century stuff now, and that perception I think is changing. And obviously with the help of Dave and the people like Dave that provide all these opportunities, I think it is changing. But I still think there's a stigma attached to guys sort of saying, actually, you know what, I do need a bit of help, and it's weird because you sort of go through your phone book and you think, yeah, I know him really well, but if I messaged him or if I texted him, would he really be there? Would he really, would he go out of his way? And I reckon I've probably got, and this is not, I reckon I've probably got 2 or 3. You go through literally the whole of my phone book and it's like, I've probably got 2 or 3 people that you could probably text and go, I'm really struggling. I genuinely could do the chat on it. I need some help. And that's like, that's quite a sort of a damning picture, I suppose, of the blokes. But I do think it's a generational thing. I think it's changing. I do. And I think there's loads out there in terms of mental health, and it's good to talk and all of that. And I'm a massive sports person, and there's loads of stuff around the sporting world about mental health and raising awareness and all of that. And it's brilliant. And the more that we can do to promote that, the better. but I do think it's a generational thing, and I think it does date back to, certainly for my, granddad's great granddads, great granddads, where they were the breadwinners, they were responsible for the family. It's the man thing to do, and I just think it's just a generational thing.
I think that's right, and the irony of it is, and there's a guy at work, and he won't mind me saying this because he's posted about it on LinkedIn. He was really struggling last year. Now he was struggling he's not a dad, but we're slightly on mental health in general, but he was struggling for quite a while with his mental health. Hadn't mentioned it to me. He'd mentioned it to a couple of people at work, and he's a friend as well as working with me. And then one day it got so bad that he opened up and talked about it. And then everything just changed for him. And he put this fairly lengthy post on LinkedIn a few days ago where he said, was the effect of, without knowing it, me, David, probably had more help on him than anybody else at all. In helping him through that period, supporting him, and then turning it around to a really good second half of 2022. Now, I hadn't realised I'd done anything other than just supporting a friend and somebody that works for me, basically. It's a kind of employer plus friend kind of relationship. And I just said, you know what? I wasn't the biggest impact, Jonathan. I replied and said, the biggest impact was when you opened your mouth and told people about it. Because the moment he spoke to me and he made it just known to everyone in the work, we had a conversation, he told everybody, took some time off, sorted himself out. And that was the point. And it was as simple as just getting that bit of courage to just say, this is going on. I'm really struggling. Can you help? Can we talk?
But I reckon he probably, in the nicest way, I don't know the circumstances whatsoever, but he probably would have rehearsed that conversation a dozen times before he actually effectively, I say, plucked up the courage. He did say it. Do you know? He's probably gone through that and then thought, actually, I'm going to say something today. I'm going to say something today, and he doesn't. Something happens, and then the following day, I'm going to say something. I'm going to say something. And we need to break that stigma of, if it's on your mind, it's actually okay to say it. Whereas a lot of the people, it's like, if it's on your mind, I'm not so sure I should. I don't want to burden anybody else. I don't want to put mine on them. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what we need to break. And we did a podcast. I can't remember who it was with. It was back last year, and we sort of said, and we were talking about going through your phone book and choosing just that one name, that one person that you really haven't reached out to for a period of time, and literally just and we almost did it live when we were on the podcast. We were like, right, I'm going to text that guy. I haven't texted him for ages. Hey up, mate, how you doing? Everything all okay? Question mark. And if you can do that just for one person in your phone book, and it makes a difference just to one person in your phone book, and as you said earlier, David, if you can make a difference just to that one person, and if I make a difference to one, and you three make a difference to one, then that's 4 people that a difference has been made to, and if each of those people make a difference to one, and so on and so on and so on, and that's how it grows, and that's. And I can't remember. Who do we have on? Can you remember? I don't feel like I remember it.
It was a guy called Al Shep, and
it was.
Yeah, so he is a mental health nurse, and he does artwork and stuff to do with the Manchester music scene, all about mental health on Instagram. Yeah, he kindly sent me this postcard and a few other postcards of the work that he does. Very talented man, and to be fair, we keep in contact on a regular basis. And yeah, he came on and he does this because he recognizes the same as we all do, that guys are terrible at communicating. And we've sort of said there, God bless that guy. It got to the point where he didn't know where else to turn, and he finally plucked up the courage to speak to Dave, which is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
But there's so many people that can't get over that hurdle. And I wonder if it's confusing having 2 Daves, isn't it? So Dave Muck, as he said earlier, yeah, that's it. When he's on about, should the onus be on us to reach out to people, or should we be looking for the signs? Should we be recognizing the signs? Do you think that's the case, Dave?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, it's about that education though, because you don't want the signs to look for, do it first, and also. People are very good at putting a front on, and it's exhausting. I mean, I don't know if anyone ever suffered from feeling a bit low mood or anything on here. I know it's a big question to put out there. I'll start. I have, and it was, and got sorted and everything. And on the outside, it looked like everything was fine. You think, Dave, you know what? He looks always happy, always smiling. For example, look at Robin Williams. Who would have thought that he's the Joker of the park? He's what's naming. Well, then you get behind the door and you take the mask off. He's like, oh, I'm so sad, and it's absolutely crazy. And you think, no way. And how many times do you hear when informed something is gone too far and the not reached out quick enough? You're like, and it's out the blue. You're like, why? How? He's all right. There wasn't no signs. So I don't know. It's a difficult one.
I think the awareness is it is difficult. You know, and you hear so many sports people or musicians or comedians or actresses and stuff, and they have this persona and they're on stage and it's like, look at me, darlings, and all of this, and it's just like, you know, and then they as you say, they come off stage and they take that mask off, and that facade and it's like, another hotel room tonight, great.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, great.
Yeah.
Who am I going to talk to? And what did you go to the hotel room, mini bar? Oh, great. You sit in your own room. You don't talk to anyone. You drink. And then you do the sit. And then the minute you walk on the stage the following night, I've got an audience. Here we go, and we're off again. And then the following night, oh Christ! And to everybody that knows that person, it's like, oh my God, really? He's amazing. Look at all the shows he does. But then off, you know, behind stage, and you drop that facade, and it's like lonely, desperate, you know, all of this and that. And you think, Christ, he's got all the money in the world. Well, yeah, but he might be as lonely as hell. He might have all the money in the world, and you can go and afford to buy whatever you want. But if you haven't got anyone there, and you're in hotel room after hotel room, and I think the awareness is, and that's why you need, you know, that's why you need the people around you. That's why you need a good, you know, a good network of mates, you know, but it's hard.
Yeah, and as a busy dad, as we are, we know life gets in the way. So you end up losing touch with your mates. Maybe it's worth planning, right, okay, commitment, once a month, we're going to go out for something to eat, or just go and have a couple of beers. It doesn't have to be a mad one. It doesn't have to be like a hangover. But you know what I mean? It's literally like, we'll make an effort, but we know what it's like. We're all guilty of it. That's something's come up, and you don't, and then before you know it, you've not spoken to your mate for a long time. And then you do, and then when you do have these things, that's why you feel you can't give them a call anymore. So it's just raising stuff like that as well.
It's weird because when Adam sort of first started the podcast, and he'd done a couple of episodes, he said, I think you're doing a podcast, and then he sort of said to myself and another guy, Andy, and he said, you know, can you join me on the podcast? It's like, oh, I don't know, I don't think I can commit, and not sure I can do it every week, and I sort of did it and then enjoyed it and then continued to do it every Tuesday. And now that's like, I do speak to Adam, I do see Dave. You know, me and Dave didn't, I mean, we grew up like, you know, same primary school, same nursery, same primary school, same secondary school, but then sort of lost touch for ages. But then almost like through the podcast, because he's now come back onto the podcast, we now chat and we probably see each other, podcast wise, every couple of weeks sort of thing. You know what I mean? So, and I enjoy that, and it's putting that hour and a half aside on a Tuesday night, and I think, right, that's my podcast night. That I'll meet the lads, I'll have a chat, I'll just carry, you know what I mean? And that it's I suppose giving that time in it but it's hard because you've got so much other stuff going on, and particularly dads at various stages of their, you know, parenting life. It is hard.
I think that's that time management is probably one of the key things in your group, David. That you know, the dad guilt that you mentioned before. It's the mental health is one thing, and that can obviously be fueled by the pressures of family life. But you can still have the dad guilt. I mean, I've for the last best part of 25 years, I've been able to work pretty much remotely. For a mixture of my own businesses or businesses I've part owned. So I've had a lot of flexibility. So the upside has been, even now, a couple of days a week, I still take the kids to school. I mean, I don't take them to school anymore, I drop them off at their mates. But when they were very young, I'd be working, they'd be sitting on the desk next to me, you know, as babies, always take them to school, always managed to get to the school plays. But off the back of that, I've been a long number of years working 70 plus hours a week. So the flip side is I have that contact to get to them to school, get to pick them up. have tea with them, have breakfast and whatever. But then I was working an awful lot. And I think the time management, what kids want more than absolutely anything is time. And you know, I'm sure this is what's discussed in your group, but it's, you know, it doesn't matter how busy you are. If you could find half an hour or an hour just on a Saturday or a Sunday, and it's just right, child, and my daughter's called Alice, same as yours, David, just to add more confusion. If it's just like, right, what do you want to do? You go for a walk? Do you want to play football? Do you want to play a game? Do you want to watch a film? Their time, and that hour, 2 hours can actually make a massive difference to always being, I'm too busy, later, I'll do it tomorrow, which I say a lot, and that's where my biggest guilt comes from. But I do try really hard to set that time aside.
And it's weird because they don't really care what they do.
No.
They don't care whether they watch a film. They don't care whether they go to the park and kick about. They don't care whether what they absolutely crave for is just your time.
Mm-hmm.
And I just say, you know, I've been really fortunate in terms of, you know, I've never really had to work away. You know, I'm in education, so I'm really lucky that I get significant sort of holidays a year, so I can spend time and have previously spent school holidays with the kids and stuff. And my wife doesn't, she's not in education, so she doesn't get school holidays, but that's allowed me to, if the kids are at home, we can go and do stuff, and I'm really lucky and I cherish that time. But I'm aware that there's loads of mates that I've got and loads of other people that don't have that time and they can't dedicate that time. So, you know, I think it's just time. It literally is just time that they want in it. And it must be, and it does go back to that dad guilt that you were about, David, it just in terms of, yeah, they do want my time, but I'm not in a position to give them the time because I'm busy away trying to provide for them to give them the things that they want. And I say I've never been in that situation, so I can't even start to think what that would feel like. But the guys in your group must be, say, tearing their hair out, thinking I desperately just want to be home and I can't be, or whatever the circumstance and situation must be. But the platform that you're providing is amazing in terms of they know they can reach out and they know that the people that are on that platform are in absolutely the same boat that they are.
No, it's 100%. I was going to touch as well, going off the side subject. And when we do, well, remember that story about the guy, the kid that wants to borrow some money off the successful business dad, and he says, I think he can borrow $5 or something. It's like an amendment, and he goes, yeah, sure. And then he gives him the $5. Can I buy half an hour off you? And I think, well, don't do that. And it's a sad story, but like the meaning of it, like, is like, like you just said, that he wants his time. He don't want any money, he just wants his time. But yeah, I think I'm getting that guilt now, thinking of that off just for previously, like, you know what I mean, working so hard. But it's fortunately now I'm in a position where I've got time. I don't have to work away. Like I say, we do have sit down meals with the kids. I give them breakfast in the morning. The business I've got now has really taken off and changed our life, our dynamic, which is brilliant. So again, offering that to people, but that's, if they wanted to try something like that, they can maybe get their time back that way, save money and earn money, which would be brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you say there, it's the key message there is, you know, financially we're pressured, but time-wise we're pressured as well. We probably as a generation have never been more time poor, you know, in our lives. When we think about it, I know certainly growing up, you know, I had one parent who worked and my mum had a part-time job. Realistically now, to run a household, you need two incomes. I genuinely believe that, just, you know, just to get by. And it is difficult. And when we planned this episode in, you know, I contacted Dave tail end of last year, and I thought, you know what, really good time to get him on. New Year, people are feeling the pinch. The Christmas has been costly, despite the fact that money's tight. Everybody goes out and spends on their kids at Christmas because, again, it's a way of alleviating that guilt, isn't it? You know what I mean? By showering them with money, it's almost trying to buy back the time that you didn't or haven't spent with them for whatever reason. But as this episode drops, actually, it drops on Monday, which is known as Blue Monday. I'd love to say I planned it that way. I didn't. It's just sheer coincidence. But Blue Monday, whether you believe it is a real thing or not, but people tend to get paid a little bit early at Christmas. That money never goes as far because, you know, you tend to go out a little bit, you tend to celebrate a little bit. And then it's this time of year you start to feel the pinch. So the one thing I would say is if you are out there and you are affected to any of these issues, whether you know any of us four guys, if you know us, reach out to us. That's great. We'll all pick up the phone and we'll all listen to you. And that is an absolute promise.
Yeah.
But if you don't know us, there are other people out there that you can contact. And if you can't, then find out Dave's group on Facebook and add it. And, you know, we'll be able to find somebody who can hopefully get in contact and talk you through. Because one of the things you want to add, like you said there at the start, is you getting other people on board to help you and give you advice, you know, in terms of, you know, financial management, stress and anxiety. And the other thing as well, which is probably the one I need the most coaching on, lifestyle and nutrition. No jokes from the two guys, okay, yeah. Well, we know it. My diet is appalling. I love beer far too much, and it comes second only to whiskey, you know. But it's great to have those people on board who can also help out as well, you know, with genuine advice that can help people, isn't it?
Yeah, the experts, and that's it. That's what we want to be doing. So, like, experts in relationship as well. The pressure it has on the relationship. So, relationship management for you and the brass, because you do, if you're working away, you're not seeing them and stuff like that, or the pressures on you, taking it out on each other, and it's relighting the spark and stuff. Because again, you don't want your kids being looking at a toxic relationship, and it's sometimes it can be resolved and stuff like that. So yeah, it's all that. That's what we just want to add loads and loads of value, and loads of content, and then there's a
So are you looking for? So are you looking for? And I suppose almost people in different professions, whether it be mental health, whether it be, I say, diet, nutrition, whether it be relationship work, whether it be the Samaritans, whether it be whoever it may be. Are you looking for these people to jump on board?
Yeah, so obviously I've been doing a bit of networking, and it obviously depends on the person that wants the help. So initially, if you want some free content, but then if they're serious about like weight loss and nutrition, then they might want to get a diet plan and obviously maybe want to really go down the coaching side, and that's obviously how the coach then can benefit and the person getting the product can benefit. I mean, I did it not so long ago, did some personal development, seeing someone who's got a work from home business like me, reached out and said, can I get some tips? And literally, just by making small differences, I was 16 stone at the time and 13 and a half now. So it's like made a massive difference, but it's just simple things, which just like making sure you had like a handful of veg on your plate, one handful of veg or one handful of salad or whatever, a bit of protein, and then a carb. You know what I mean? Nothing too major. You know, that was it. So you try and cut out the bread and stuff like that, or just little things, baby stuff that you could actually do, and then you can still have a takeaway. Yeah, and that was a lot. Yeah, it's massive. Simple steps.
And then the thing about that is within the group, on the Facebook group, if there's someone that posts, you know, I'm carrying a bit too much timber, I'm going to try this diet, see how it goes. You're likely to get some others going, yeah, I'll do it. And once you've got 2, 3, 4 in a I know the group's private, but a public space, as in public with people that you might not know other than through Facebook. The fact that there's somebody else doing it just gives that extra bit of incentive to keep doing it yourself.
Yeah. So like, then if someone's saying I'm struggling with the bills, I'm paying this and paying that. Well, obviously that's my special answer. Say what, mate? I'll do you a free bill clinic, and we'll have a look and see if you can save a bit of money in that sense. So we're offering that. So there's loads of value, but it's not pushing it. Come and join my business. Come and do this for me. It's not about that. That is ultimately not about that. It's about a support mechanism for dads. And then if they want any extra help, it's there as well. That's the idea. But ultimately, it's all about just us as dads having a bit of a whinge if you need to, knowing there's someone on the other end, and that's it. And that's the be all and end all of it, really. But then knowing there's spotlight options.
Well, funnily enough tonight, so I was just setting up in here, and the wife's in the front room, and she was watching Martin Lewis, and he was talking about the cost of gas and forecasting the prices and how it's looking at going, and hopefully is looking at coming down a little bit. But truthfully, as a skeptic, I'll believe that when I see it. But what you do as well, like you say, in terms of your bill clinic, this time of year, well, not just this time of year, just this time in history, the price that we're paying, okay, it's capped. I still don't think that's a wonderful thing that it's capped either. But don't get me started on politics, because I get embittered very quickly. But energy, the cost of energy at the moment, the cost of driving a car, the cost of heating your house. Thankfully, so far, it's not been too cold of a winter, but gee whiz, we still got, the end of January and February to come yet. We know those can be the real cold months. And the cost of electricity, and especially like I got kids like mine, who's 6, he's 6 next week, and 3, he's 4 in May, and gee whiz, if they can enter a room without turning a light on, it's a personal triumph for them, you know what I mean? Because everything goes on in every single room that they're in. And the cost of your bills is high. So to be able to offer that service as well, I think is really important. So do you want to tell us a little bit about that and what you do really there?
Yes. So it's a work from home business. It's a multiple service provider in the UK. Basically, the more services you got, you get a reduction. So this price cap you mentioned, 3 services, it's 5% below a cap, and 2 services, it's 2.5. And if you're a homeowner, we're actually doing like a boost. So you get £200 credit for 3 services off your bill. So I signed a customer up the other day, and the bill was I think it was 280 or just over 286 or something like that for everything. Anyway, he's going to get 200 quid off a second bill boost. So, and then that's £66 off the government. So it literally, whatever it was, I'm crap at maths, but literally it was a £1 bill. So it was like quid for all your services. It's mad. And then what we offer as well is, obviously we talk about the cost of everything going up. We've got like an inflation boosting card, so it's a top-up card. You're going to like your top cash back, but obviously you've got better incentives. So it's all these national retailers. I'm not allowed, I don't know if I'm allowed to name any names, but all these national retailers, like Sainsbury's, Whole Foods, Primark, M&S, Whole Foods, really Argos, B&Q, all these like credible businesses, and then you spend on the top money on the card, spend it in there instead, and then that comes off your utility bill. So it don't matter whether you're with British Gas or you're with Eon or whoever you're with, you're paying at the cap, aren't you? You're paying whatever you're paying. But obviously our business, you got ways of bringing it down. So that it's obviously you can imagine what the business is like at the minute. It's just flying off.
I bet, yeah.
It's rocketing because it's just a perfect model, isn't it?
Absolutely. Just out of interest, have we got a B&Q near us, Gaz?
We have got B&Q near us, yeah.
Where? Oh.
Crewe.
Is there a B&Q in Crewe?
There's a joke here somewhere, isn't there?
No, you're supposed to say, yeah, there's a B&Q Crewe. I say,
yeah, there's a B&Q Crewe.
Thank you. A C-R-W with 2 E's. Yeah, we've got to get that joke in there, haven't we?
See, if you'd have asked me, if I'd have answered, I'd said, yeah, it's in Talk.
It works the same. There's not a B&Q in Talk either, so it works the same.
Yeah,
I was gonna say Hanley or Stoke, but then I was like, no, go on then, okay.
You sussed me out, you rumbled me, but we had to have that joke in there, didn't we? I apologise for that, folks. I apologise for that. But no, seriously, if that is something you're interested in, then, if you can't find them on Facebook, get in touch with us. Our website, tallboyradio.com. Email us at mail@tallboyradio.com. We'll put you in touch with Dave. And we'll also tell you where you can find the Facebook group. What's the Facebook group called again?
The Busy Dad UK.
Busy Dad UK. So definitely search that out on Facebook. If you can't, like I say, get in contact with us and we'll put you in touch. It's not a problem. And the other thing, like I say, taking it back to mental health as well, because it's something that's really important to us, is, when you talk about this time of year, it's like seasonally adjusted disorder as well. A lot of people struggle just because the days are shorter, the weather's not so good. So, we recognise, and this is why it's such an important time of year to be doing this episode. It's important all year long, don't get me wrong. But those sort of things are real, aren't they? And again, it goes back to that stigma, that sort of, we are men, we eat meat, we fight, we fart, beer, and that's but that we almost simplify ourselves with these kind of jokes that we make. But we are complex human beings, and we don't thoroughly understand the reasons why we feel down at times either, do we?
And I think, I mean, you touch on a good point. I mean, the seasonal disorder, seasonal affective disorder, the SAD syndrome, and that's, that's a bona fide condition that probably loads of men suffer from, but just it's probably massively undiagnosed, just in terms of, they don't realise that this time you need the light, you need your body to recognise the light, and then is it
vitamin D?
Is it serotonin? What's it called?
Vitamin D.
Is it vitamin D? Yeah, but is it? I want to say not serotonin. What's it called? Not melatonin, that's the thing in your skin. But there's a hormone that you release.
Dopamine, is it something?
Is that what it is?
I don't know.
I don't know, but there's hormone that you release. Everybody that's listening to this, it's whatever they're shouting it out.
Oh no, it's not.
But there's a hormone that you release that affects and makes you feel better in yourself, and I suppose without the knowledge of that, you wouldn't know that you suffer from that. So therefore, the dark nights draw in, and you start to feel a little bit, a bit woe is me, and without realising it, you get a bit down on yourself. Whereas in the summer, you think, oh, happy days, and it's actually due to the seasons and the light, and it is that sort of thing. It's just but it goes back to what we said half an hour ago. It's the recognition of that, and it's the change in the people, because ultimately that's what we look for. I see so every Tuesday on a podcast, and maybe every other week, every third week, maybe we might go out for beer every now and then, sort of thing. But it's the recognition of, oh, is everything okay, dude? You seem not quite yourself tonight or whatever. But it's me, and me and I, we're comfortable enough in our relationship as mates for me, and I feel as I'm comfortable to say that to Ad. So then, okay, dude, you just don't quite see yourself tonight. And you'd be like, yeah, sound, oh, sure, okay. Well, if not, fine. But it's having that comfort to A, recognise it, B, say it, and then the recipient of that question feel comfortable enough to say, actually, you know what? Yeah, I am probably struggling a little bit. And it's the identification of that I think is the key. There'll be people that you will know, and you'll be acquaintances with. I'm not saying close friends with, but acquaintances with, that you might see in passing, maybe work colleagues, as Dave mentioned earlier. The work colleague, is an employee and stuff that you have fleeting moments with, but it's just that taking the time out to appreciate everything. Okay, kid. Yeah. Are you sure? Yeah. Okay. No worries. No pressure. But if it isn't, my door's always open, or whatever it may be. In that environment, in whatever environment you're in, and it's just having that, and I suppose making those people know that actually there is somebody they can go to if they need it.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the other thing you see is, so like as we said earlier, the three of us, although Dave and Gaz have known each other much longer than I've known them, but we've grown up together since probably about the age of 16. I think we started knocking about together.
Yeah.
And let's not focus too much on how old we are, but we're all turning 50 this year, which is a terrifying thought.
Dave sooner than us.
I'd rather get there sooner, but look like I'm way behind.
Well, you need to speak to Ryan about that, because you know what I mean. He's like, well, yeah.
Oh, well, like I'm 60 already, so that's okay.
Being generous.
Yeah, Dave won't be invited back next week. Yeah, say your goodbyes to him. But in all seriousness, though, suicide is one of the biggest killers of men our age, and that is a terrifying thought. And actually, it's when you get up to about the age of 49, it is like one of the largest killers. However, there's a depressing thought for you guys now. Think about this: when you're turning 50 in May and July, respectively. When you get over 50, the suicide rate is higher, but unfortunately there are other things that are going to get you because of our, our age and the other things that we are susceptible to. But the suicide rate is higher in 50-year-olds than it is where, where it's taking lives of people under the age of 40. And we want to sort of stop, don't you? And this is part of the reason why what you do, we laugh and it's a little bit jocular at times and it's great, but there is a serious message that underlies this, that males, for whatever reason, and it goes back to that the inability to share with our friends and cohorts, that we take it to that extreme, and then it bottles up until the tunnel seems so dark and the light at the end is so far away that we can no longer deal with it or see any other way out. And that is not what we want to hear. You hear the stories, and sadly, I think probably everybody, who's sat here talking tonight probably knows somebody who's gone down that route, and we don't want to see another man go down that route, or woman. Let's make it very clear, you know what I mean?
No.
75% of suicides in this country are men. And, and it's still a massive, massive amount. I think, what did we see when we did the episode with Al Shep? It was, for that year, it was 4,409 men had taken their lives that year. And that's a terrifying figure. And the figure for women is a little bit less, but still, it's way too high, isn't it? That's just shocking.
4,409.
Is there any statistics to say it's getting worse or rather than better?
Well, fully enough, and this is the interesting thing, there's so many statistics around the pandemic and what have you, and you would have expected it with the extra pressures that were placed on people's lives, that actually it didn't get worse throughout that time scale. And it is more or less, as we understand it, obviously the figures aren't out for 2022, but it is more or less plateauing, which I still don't think is great news. It's still far too many, but the fact that it's not getting worse has to be a bonus, I think. But with the financial pressures that come, we know in the past, you look at footage of the things that went on during the Wall Street crash and things like that, historically speaking, that it's I'm concerned. I worry about I worry about our society in general. That sounds like a typical 50-year-old thing to say, doesn't it? You know what I mean?
No.
But you know what I mean? I'm generally, when I look around today, I don't see the positivity that I saw, 20, 30 years ago. And it genuinely worries me. And I don't know what the answer is. Like I say, I think people talking is great, but it's how it still goes back to how it is.
Again, financially, I think a lot of people live from week to week or paycheck to paycheck. So you literally in a position where you're working really, really hard, and once you've paid everything out, you've got nothing left, and that's and how depressing is that in itself? You think, because obviously human nature is we want to reward ourselves. We work hard, you want to reward. Obviously, the reward is you get paid, but if once you paid your bills out and you've got nothing, you can't reward yourself, then it's a strain. There's that, and obviously we're not even touched on it, but smartphones. How many of us procrastinate or compare ourselves against other people, or think the world's perfect and it's just me that's suffering, or there's just me or I'm a shit dad or whatever. Because he's great, but it's all a persona, and there's that as well. We don't even touch on that. So, and whether now look the pressure to look good, but especially the younger lads. Got to look a certain way and all that to get the girl, and not even being a dad. It was always precious to be a super dad. But to be honest, I think everyone's a super dad anyway. Just doing 100%, and that's it.
That's a great message.
That's why the group I think is more important than ever. To what's the name now? Because obviously you're seeing how many people are on striking, how many people are losing their jobs. I think Amazon, God, even Jeff, whatever his name is now shutting places, isn't it? It's stuff's going down when it's that. So it's just giving people options and a way out and a solution. So
you've hit on something really important there as well with smartphones, like you say, in the comparison that people make to their lives. And I've heard it from people I've spoken to. I'm not going to share their names on here, but who sort of said, who've come off social media just because it was depressing them. so everybody's life's perfect mindset. And I remember someone saying to me, and they just had a kid, and we all know the pressures that puts on a relationship when you got a small child and he's demanding attention. Not even just 8 hours a day, 12 a day, 24 hours a day, how difficult that is. And I remember her saying to me, you make it look so easy and I'm struggling so hard. It's like, I don't post pictures on social media of me like 3 o'clock in the morning pulling my hair out. No jokes, please. Because my kids won't go to bed. I'm tired and I know I've got to go to work in the morning. And I'm absolutely physically exhausted and the point of tears. And I don't post pictures of that. Nobody does. But everybody experiences it. It's like a poster book life that they put on Instagram and Facebook.
There was look, I'm a massive sports lover, and Kevin Peterson, who is England cricketer and whatever, and he said, and he's done this because obviously being a famous cricketer, he would be subject to vile abuse on social media and this and the other, and he basically said, put your phone down at 7 o'clock at night. And he said, literally, put your phone down at 7 o'clock at night. You'll sleep better. You'll feel better. You'll wake up in the morning better. And it's a proper regime that he goes through now. And I understand whether people working shifts, people working nights, and I think the sentiment is right. I think the timing isn't necessarily right in terms of 7 o'clock. But whatever time it is that is your downtime, turn your phone off. And I don't necessarily mean if you've got kids, because they're out and therefore you need to know where they are and stuff. But I think the point is valid in terms of give yourself a break from that. And it goes back to what you're saying, David, about having to look good, appear good, post good as such, and if you can do that and you have a break from whether it be social media or your phone full stop, but don't answer your work emails at 8 o'clock at night. You finished work 3 hours ago, for Christ's sake. Why are you answering emails at 8 o'clock? All right, Dave, I can see you pulling face now, but and you might be a slightly different case, but you take my point just in terms of you've got your work hours, and Dave, you're in a different position. You own your own business, you run your own business, you have time pressures slightly differently perhaps to myself and Ad, but I'm home from work at 5 or whatever, 5:30. So I shouldn't be answering work emails at 8, 8:30 at night. I shouldn't be answering work texts at 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. And it's having that time and that break from, and it goes back to these things. And it's whether it's text mode, but social media, whatever it is, it's having that break and dedicating that time to wife, girlfriend, kids, whatever it may be, and yourself, and actually, Dave, that's a really good point, because I think guys, they work so hard on trying to make things right for other people, they perhaps don't look at themselves and think, actually, I need some time for me, and I don't mean.
No, we put ourselves last. As well.
Yeah.
There's
right.
No, it's true. I did some work the other day, so a bit of personal development, and it's interesting to talk about baby, believe it or not. It's like what we do naturally. We put the child first, which is C for child, then the relationship, which obviously the missus or whatever, and then ourselves. And it actually spelled cry, and it was actually didn't know it spelled cry, but it is because you put yourself last. It's like, and it makes you sad. And it's not saying like don't give a shit about your kids and don't put them past, or bin the missus off or whatever. It's not on about that, but it's just like prioritise yourself. You need to have yourself in the best mentally or best position to give your kids the best, to give your relationship the best. So actually do put yourself first in that sense. Make sure that you're getting a bit of time out, your missus is getting a bit of time out, especially with younger kids, because you need that little bit of respite. Go and have a long bath, go and have an hour, what's the name, or whatever, or go and watch a film, have a bit of downtime. I'll look after, you know what I mean, and do it that way. But I found that was a really strong piece of advice, which I wouldn't even thought of, because like I say, our default is child, relationship, us. We always put ourselves last, sacrifice ourselves. So
and the problem with doing that is if you put, for those guys that are in that situation, they put themselves last, they don't give themselves the time to mentally, physically recover and
Yeah.
do the things that they need to do in order to put the child and the relationship first. And what happens is then becomes an ever-decreasing circle of, well, I'm putting myself last, and I put myself last, which means I can't sustain my input into my kid and into my relationship. So that struggles, but then I can't put myself into I can't give myself time. What I should be doing is give myself at least some time to recharge my batteries or whatever it may be, so that I can dedicate time to the kids and the wife and so on and so on. So yeah, and it's that
vicious circle,
that it is that ever decreasing vicious circle, isn't it? Is that I want to dedicate time to myself and I want to give time to myself, but I can't because I have to provide for everybody else. But if you don't, sooner or later you won't be in the position to be able to provide for everybody else because you're in such a state you actually physically and mentally can't do that. Burnout, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I tell you what, this episode has. I always knew it had potential to be quite serious, but we a little bit more
deep,
in depth.
very deep.
Yeah, it's got I've known Dave.
But sometimes it has to be.
No,
it's not, Dave, but it has
totally
to be
agree.
because I think the sentiment and I absolutely think that what you're trying to do is crucial, and I think what you're trying to do is provide platforms for people that maybe don't feel as though they've got a platform or don't feel as though they've got an opportunity to talk to other like-minded people or people in situations like themselves. And the episode, some people might go, oh my God, that's a bit dark, but absolutely not. We have to raise awareness. We have to do what we're doing. We have to get it out there. And the more people that are like yourself, Dave, in terms of trying to provide these facilities and these services and these platforms for people, we have to celebrate those people, and we have to get it out there that you're not alone. There are people you can talk to. There are support groups that you can access, and it's an absolutely vital message that we have to get out there. We have to do that, and it's a duty that we have as Tallboy Radio. You've been brilliant tonight on our podcast, and you've spoken about what you offer and the things that you do. It's now on us to get that out there to all of our listeners.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
And what we'll do as well, we'll put a link on our website. So if you go to our website, you'll see there's an external links page. And yes, a little bit of it is for our sponsor, but we will also put a link on there to Dave's Facebook page. So you can click on it and take it directly to there. We do a blog post about every single episode we do, and we'll put a link on there as well. So if you want to read a little bit more about it, then it will be on there too. And we are actually coming up to around about the hour mark.
I just,
of course you can.
A little bit cheeky, a bit of a curveball. I have recently signed up for the 3-piece challenge, and all proceeds are going to Alder Hay. So, okay. I mean, if I can put that on me as a link out, obviously we can raise as much money for Alder Hay. It's not till August, but we're trying to raise a minimum of £800 and that, you know what I mean? But that'd be an amazing thing. Is that okay to do? Or I've done it.
Of course,
mate, that's
no, send us the link.
One of my daughters spent some time in Alder Hay, and so absolutely, I absolutely 100% put the link on. I'll donate and just send the details, and I'm more than happy to donate to that because Alder Hay do a phenomenal job.
Oh, unbelievable.
And if ever, if there's anybody ever out there that has had kids that have gone through Alder Hay, and just what they provide is amazing. So yeah, 100%. Just get it onto our social media stuff, and we'll share that.
I had a bit of a mad Sunday. My mate's doing it for his daughter that obviously was premature. Martin, big shout out to Martin Stark there, and that's why he wanted to give back. And then he just said, "Listen, would any of you guys fancy give us a bit of a lift? Like, it's a bit of a lonely place. Well, obviously I imagine there's people doing it, but familiar." I said, "You know what? I'd love to do it. I've been planning to do it anyway because obviously I'm new to North Wales, so I was going to do Snowdonia anyway." I said, "So, go on, Mad Sunday. Might as well go all in and do that."
Just do it. Yeah.
And it's a chance to give back because obviously personal experience as well of Alder Hay. So yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much for letting me plug that.
No,
No brother.
And that won't be the only time you plug it as well. Send us that link. We'll stick it out on our Twitter, our Facebook, and our Instagram. And we'll keep sharing it out as well till up until the point where you've done it. We'll put it on the blog post and we'll put that as a link as well on our website as well. So hopefully people will click on it too. So yeah, absolutely. No, we did something for Great Ormond Street Hospital, didn't we, a couple of years ago, Gaz? So yeah, stuff like that. Like Gaz shares that story. And let's see, your friends had those experiences. I consider myself absolutely blessed that I've got this far in life without that ever being a trauma that I've had to experience. And I do genuinely mean that I am blessed by that. And my heart goes out to anybody who's had to experience it. And I think they do such wonderful, wonderful work that we need to support it in absolutely any way we can. So fair play to you for doing that, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that brings us to the end of this episode. One thing I will do is add a bit of commerciality to it by giving a word out to our sponsors. So massive shout out to Ollie's Snacks. If you want to go to them, head to ollies-ollies.com where you can pick up your olives, your nuts, your pretzels, and your chocolate-covered pretzels. Use the promo code if you're based in the UK. Tall Boy Radio, all capitals, all one word, and you will get 20% off your order. And with every order placed on their website, they donate a school meal to a child in need with the help of One Feeds Two. And also, the other thing we need to shout out as well, because we've changed the way that we're doing it, let's give a shout out to our social media. So you can find us at Tallboy Radio on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, at Tallboy Radio Podcast on Instagram. And you can find us at tallboyradio.com. Please visit there. Please see the stuff that Dave does as well when we share that on our external links in our blog post about this episode. And if you want to get in contact with us, if any of this has affected you in any way, there's nothing necessarily that we can do to help. But what we can do is put you hopefully in touch with somebody who can. Send us an email to mail@tallboyradio.com. So, guys, we're coming to the end of the episode. We always share a little bit about what beer we've been drinking throughout the episode. Normally we do it at the start. We moved it to the end. Read the blog post if you want to know why. So who wants to say their goodbyes first and leave us with their Jerry Springer's final thoughts?
I'll go first then. So in terms of beer, I'm not drinking, but I've got this 0.5%, which apparently in the UK is classed as de-alcoholed, but not alcohol free. But in Europe, it's alcohol free. So technically, we are in Europe, are we? Still, kind of.
I don't know. Who voted for Brexit here? Show of hands.
No, not me.
Not me.
Not me.
No.
Yeah, so you're fine. You're fine.
And this gas, one of your little drinks, but with a couple of zeros, which you won't like.
No. Well, strangely enough, Dave.
It's all right actually.
It's one of the better alcohol-free beers. That one is. I remember Andy had it when he was expecting his kid, and he let me have one of his, and it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, they're both all right. And in terms of final thoughts, well, I think it's probably something that we're all pretty much going to say the same thing, which is just talk to someone, because it might feel like the most difficult thing to do, but you know what? If you get ignored, you're in no worse place. Try somebody else. But if you don't get ignored, and somebody listens to you and helps you, it's just a game changer. It just opens everything up, and things will get so much better.
Very, very, very good point. Gaza?
I really enjoy this episode. And as much as a lot of our episodes, we have a vast array of topics we talk about. This is when we talk about some mental health and raising awareness and supporting people. That's what we want to do. And I've just shown you that. In terms of I'm drinking something I left. There you go. But the original one. So, and actually, out of a left flash, they get quite that. So, yeah, I love meeting people that are passionate about supporting others and helping others, and I'll just echo what Dave's just said. Go through your phone book, message people. If there's somebody you haven't made contact with for a period of time, just drop them a text. Hey, kid, you okay? How you feeling? Do you want to chat? And if they don't reply, they don't reply. You haven't lost anything. As Dave said, you haven't lost anything. If they do reply and they open up, maybe just that one person you can help. And you know what? Dave's group, I take my hat off to you. You're doing a lot for a lot of people, and you know, you're putting it out there and you're supporting others. So fair play to you. Can't say how sort of how higher I can sort of hold you in. You know, you supporting others, you're helping others. Yeah, fair play to you, kid.
Oh, thank you very much. Is it my turn or is it yours?
Yeah, you go for it, dude.
No, you go for it, kid.
I got the memo about the alcohol-free. I just didn't want to get. I'm a bit of a lightweight, to be honest. So I thought if I start drinking on the podcast, I'm going to have to make an absolute show myself, mate. So
we've done that before, pal. Don't worry about that.
So I really love Moretti, but I think I've let the beer drinkers down by having a Moretti's here. You know what's all right, you know. It's sound. And the other thing as well, if I do have a beer, I get the munchies, mate. Honestly, I'll end up going into a share size bag of crisps or something. So obviously the weight loss, it's like what's the name? It's beneficial. As soon as I have a beer, I'm like, oh, where's the food? And I just want to start eating crap. And then the next day you don't go over eating crap. So probably it's been wise. So and it just gives you a fresh head in the morning. I'm obviously operating heavy machinery now. I'm a ground worker. Probably why I'm going deaf. So
we're not going to convince them, by the way, Dave.
No, we're not. We're not.
It was a good try, though. To be fair.
No, thank you. And yeah, final thoughts. Just if you can help one person, one dad, busy dad, every dad's doing a great job out there. Keep doing what you're doing, and people do want to listen. And I'd rather pick up a call than go to your funeral. That's what they say in it, and it's that's. I know it's finished on a bit of a mob, but it is. So that's it. That's it for me.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So we've had a couple of alcohol-free beers. I've gone the other way.
12?
No, nothing that strong. I've gone a little bit lighter than that. I've gone Northern Monk's Heaven, which is a chocolate, vanilla, and maple imperial stout, which just comes in at a steady 10%. You know what I mean?
I was close.
You were close,
dude.
You were close. Yeah, I'll give you that one, dude. It's you want it on a technicality, but yeah, I'll absolutely echo everything that everybody has said there. And like you say, this is a group about busy dads. So think about that time when your child took the first step, and that's the hardest step that child ever took. Reaching out to somebody, that's the hardest thing you're going to ever have to do. But just like your child learning to walk, it got a lot easier after that. So think about that, and please take action. And so thank you and good night.
Thank you.